I'll share the conflict poetry. Let's take some papers and discuss. Anyways, I have to start your paper discussion soon. Um, I think we have also discussed. Never mind. Okay. In nature poetry, nature poetry के poems ඔක්කොම discuss කරාද මේ ඔෂිනි මේ ළමයි ටික නැතුව මට lesson එක පටන් ගන්න බෑනේ, so let's discuss some questions. Nature poetry වල eagle එකේ evening star
We did eagle to the
okay,
evening star. Uh, can't remember, miss. I think we discussed.
we discussed.
Wait.
Okay, here's the nature poetry duet. Make we have to the nile I'm going to skip. Senora hi great 10 එක එක මල්ලියක ඉන්නවා ඒ හින්දා අපි evening star කිනුයි ඊගල් එකනුයි questions ටික discuss කරමු. මොකද එයා දන්නේ ඒ lessons ටික විතරයිනේ. And ඔයාගේ යාළුවෝ ආවොත් we'll go back to big match. Okay Oshini?
Okay, miss.
Okay. The eagle, let's first discuss the. Did we discuss the eagle context or mama already ලියන්න විතරක් දුන්නේ? Did we discuss these questions?
No, miss.
Okay.
We didn't.
Okay. Then I'll tell you the answers for this in the sense we are going to discuss these answers, and I'm also going to show you some marking schemes. O levels වලට ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ marking schemes තියෙනවා from 2016. Okay. When it comes to the marking schemes, okay, මේ තියෙන 2020. So it's 20, okay. This is the 2020 marking scheme. I'm going to go through the marking scheme with you first and show you how marks are awarded properly. Okay. Paper structure, you already know that. I'm not going to repeat it again. You know that you have part 1, part 2, and part 1 make section A, B, 30 marks, 10 marks makes 40 marks. And section A, you get questions you get 2 questions from poetry, 2 questions from prose, and 2 questions from drama. And then section B is from the novel that you already know. And then may fiction kila kiyanet novel because all of those are fiction, made up stories, not real. In the non-fiction you have fiction. You have to write 1 essay each. That is the paper structure. මෙන්න මේක තමයි දීලා තියෙන marking structure. See, for section A, each question carries 5 marks, and that's how you get the 30, 5 into 6. And section B question වලට 10 marks, so 10 plus 30 is 40. Then for the essays, 15 marks each. තියෙන ඒක හැදෙන විදිහ marks. Then this is for the marking examiners. Mark paper marking scheme එක බලන අයට තමයි මේ දීලා තියෙන්නේ. Rubric එක this is how you need to mark කියලා. හරි. ඒ කැල්ල අපිට වැඩක් නැහැ. I'm going to get into the part that you need to focus. Okay. Thenonna this is about the context questions. This is about paper 1 of your lit paper. Paper 1 these are general instructions. So AK, you should be able to identify the accurate text and the author. First question in every context question is to identify the text, which the particular lines are taken from, and the author, the writer of the text. So ekata, please make sure you memorize all the authors, the poets, or the writers, as well as the names, the titles. Titles well, please remember title like a capitalization එකක් හරි වැරදි නම්. Then for an example, when you say a bird came down the walk, the T in all the other words in the title, the first letter is capitalized. Imagine you forget and make the T also capital, then 0. Literature වල half marks දෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඔයා ඕතගේ නම හරියට ලියලත් අර මේ title එකේ T අකුර නැති වුණා කියලා you're going to lose the entire mark. Same thing with the author's name also. How may write again again namaka kakura kare adu nothing finish. So please make sure you memorize that. Harira literature wala ogalante memorize karana, then you only have to memorize the quotes. Quotes in the sense the lines that you're going to write, the selected lines that you're going to write in your essays, and the names of the authors and the text. When a katapadam karana kila deyak naha. Oy tika tama katapadam karana kila tiyene. So please memorize them. And you should be able to, now sorry, the skills that are being checked are these. Section B, okay, within the knowledge and the identification, comprehension, application, and evaluation. Comprehension can, what does comprehension mean? Now there's a section given, and out of that one you have to write the answer. So you have to be able to comprehend it. English papers comprehension questions like that, and then you need to be able to apply the knowledge you know and to evaluate. These are the skills that are tested. Right. Maintain questions in a video. And then this is the important part. When it comes to your essays, we are going to read the criteria for the essay types. Essay type questions, well, we are going to look into what are the criteria, look into the criteria that they are paying attention to. Now here they are saying you have to have these skills. These are the skills that are tested. Identification, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. Right? So that what it basically means is you should be able to understand the text and identify the characters, the themes, the techniques, and all of that. And then you should be able to comprehend it properly, understand it, then apply the knowledge you have into the questions. You should be able to analyze, think critically, think out of the box. Surface meaning, you have to be able to understand the deeper meaning. And then synthesis, you need to be able to create a product with a proper evaluation. Right? And they have given, see, able to analyze and address the question. If it is not relevant to the question. Now imagine this is the main reason I do not like giving model answers. But I feel like I'll have to give you all one or two, but I do not like giving model answers for this reason. Model answer you start memorizing that. And that is not going to help because question to question is going to be different. Right? But if you know how to analyze the question and address the question, you don't have a problem. You won't be facing an issue. Hi, Zenura. May Binara, camera please. I can't be talking to Travis Scott. Travis Scott, Aya. Turn on your camera, please. Tama thunder in the heart. Mr. Travis. Oshini nang eliye kila kiwa. So Oshini is excused. Others, Dohan, Senura, Ravidu, not a chat sena penama. Winner, okay. Other battery now, okay, fine. Okay, winner, fine. Last chance, okay. Please, if you know you have classes today, charge your phones or whatever the devices that you're going to join with. Charge them and keep, you have classes today, right? Okay. I'm not saying that you're lying. Battery nattang. If you are out of battery, next time make sure you charge your phone when you know you have classes. Okay, right. Then what are they asking? Selected the relevant context and organize the answer relevant to the question. Selecting relevant context. Now imagine the question is based on characters of maybe it's a essay basing on character of Papua's character. Beakina drama ke Papua character kentama you have, but you have written basing it solely on Smirnov. Is the content relevant to the text? No. So, however, how much good you write the answer, it's not going to matter because it's not relevant. And your answer needs to be organized. This is to achieve this organization is why I'm asking you to create drafts. When you create a draft, you are able to write organized answers easily because you have your points stated. Let me just take a random one from the poems they know as well. Okay, let's take the evening star. From To the Evening Star, imagine there's a question about this duality of nature and all that blah blah blah. So I'm going to talk about the components of nature. the sense, the evening star. I'm going to talk about the evening star. The evening star seen as a divine source and all of that. And then I'm going, in the second point, I'm going to talk about the, what you call, the unseen mysteries, the hidden danger. I'm going to talk about them, the fox, the lion, sorry, not fox, the wolves and the lions and all of that. And then in my third point, I'm going to talk about the innocent sources who are seeking for the blessings or the influence of the evening star, like the flowers, the fleas of the flock, stuff like that. Right. So, see, structurally, I quickly have 3 points on my head. When I think of the poem, then what I need to do is make the points in a way that it matches the question. Okay. Now imagine it's a character analysis question. Imagine it's a question you have to analyze two or more characters. Imagine this is a question where we are going to analyze Smirnov's character and Papua's character. Then how are you going to write? You can either take it in the basis of 3 points, in the sense three characteristics. You can talk about three common characteristics which you see in both, in both the characters and talk, or else you can do it in a way where in the first paragraph, first body paragraph you talk about Popoa, then second body paragraph you talk about Smirnov, and in the third body paragraph you give a comparison. That is one way of doing it. A better way of, I mean, it's, you can't say better, it's more or less the same thing, but the second way that I'm going to say right now is more punchier. That is when you write basing on 3 points solidly. So if I am going to take these two characters into consideration, if I am going to write a comparison, the 3 points that I'm going to come up are these. Number one, I'm going to talk about the current situation of the duo, right? The fact that both of them are sexist. What does sexist mean? They are both looking down upon the opposite gender. Smirnov hates women and Popova hates men. So I'm going to talk about that, right? And I'm going to talk about the conflict, the futility of their conflict, how the conflict came into the picture, and that's one paragraph. And the next paragraph, I'm going to talk about the reason for it, the past experience. I'm going to show the point is going to be like this. I'll just come up with one. You can say how a person's experience, like how the experiences and the exposure of a person shapes or molds one's character. That's my point. Then I'm going to talk how Smirnov had experiences with multiple women and all of that, and then how Popova was treated by her husband and how that developed the hatred they have towards the opposite gender. That is one solid point, one solid paragraph. Then the third body paragraph, I'm going to talk about the consequence, in the sense, now first I told the present situation, the fact that they hate each other and all of that, conflict again. The second body paragraph, I showed the reason for the conflict. Third body paragraph, I'm going to show how both of them fall in love. That means both of them were actually souls which were hurt by the opposite gender, but upon receiving the attention or upon breaking the stereotype. What do you mean by breaking the stereotype? Popova, in the beginning, she was a very timid character, but upon being angry, her real character came out. Her bold, courageous character came out. And that is what actually impressed Smirnov. That actually impressed Smirnov. And that's what he says, wonderful woman and all of that. And also when it comes to Popova, once Smirnov started paying attention, she also got the kind of attention that she was longing for a long period of time. So that's going to be my third point, ultimately how they fall in love and all of that. That's structured. That's pretty much structured. So you can, that's just something I just came up right now. I might be able to come up with something else later on. That's fine. You don't have to like stick to one particular draft. You can always come up with new ideas, right? So this is what I meant by, what is meant by selecting relevant content and organized answer. Then familiar with the text and the quote relevant and at the appropriate moments to build an argument. This is very important. Quotes මතක තියාගෙන ගියා කියලා දන්න quote එක එතන ලියලා නැකනේ මේ වැඩේ. That's not what makes you a වැඩ. Because the quote that you write needs to be appropriate. Smart students do this. What smart students do is that they memorize quotes that are appropriate for multiple situations. ඒ කියන්නේ එකම කෝට් එක එක ගහෙන් කුළුරු ගොඩක් ගහන්න පුළුවන් විදිහට හොඳට ෂොට්ස් ගහන්න පුළුවන් හොඳ ස්ට්‍රෝක් එකක්. හොඳ කෝට් එකක් සිලෙක්ට් කරලා තියාගන්නවා. Like you they pick up quotes good which show different themes, different characters and different techniques. ඒ ඔක්කොම කියන්න පුළුවන් විදිහ quotes තෝරගන්නවා. And quotes that he or she can easily explain and memorize those. And then draft it, put make drafts, making it appropriate to the course that you remember, right? Especially if exams are close by and you're in a time crunch, that is what you need to do. සාමාන්‍යයෙන් කරන්න ඕනේ points හදලා points වලට ගැලපෙන codes ටික දාන්න ඕනේ. That is the correct method. That is what I recommend. But බැරි වෙලා හරි you run out of time and you have no other option, then take the codes that you remember and try to create the points basing on that. Because බොරු වැඩක් නැති codes ලියුවා කියලා marks හම්බෙන්නේ නැහැ. Codes ලියනවට නෙමෙයි marks හම්බෙන්නේ. You get marks for writing the codes that are appropriate. Right? Okay. Comprehend and appreciate the text can write with understanding and confidence. You need to comprehend the text and appreciate the text, right? Then able to write with correct grammar and spelling. This is very important. This is why I'm saying if you have language issues, if you have issues with your grammar and your spellings, please work on it right now. Please work on it as soon as possible. Get your grammar issues sorted. Because if you do not do that, you're going to fall into trouble. Now we are going to get into the criteria of marking. Then I will explain how you lose marks. I think I've already told you, but I'll repeat. Okay. Then the factor F here. This is something that most of the students do not do. This is the line that marks the margin between the B's and the A's. This is why most of the students end up getting B's for literature and not A's. They do not add these two criterias, F and G. මේ දෙක ගොඩාක් ළමයි කරන්නේ නැහැ. Now when I explain you a text, I tell you all so many extra things. I give you all quotes out of the box. Like for an example, if we talk about Richard Corey, I give you like things like okay, grass is not always green on the other side. Don't judge a book by its cover. ඒ වගේම extra phrases, proverbs දීලා තියෙනවා. And also situations. These are for you to analyze and write. And you need to come up with stuff as well, because just memorizing it and applying it is not what you need to do here. This is not history or some other subject where your memory power is tested. Here what is tested is your analytical thinking, your creativity, your innovative thinking skills, right? So what you need to do is you need to be able to relate to real world experiences or real world contexts, scenarios. එහෙම කියලා මේ essay එකක් ඉංග්‍රීසි essay එකක් වගේ මේ එක එක කතා explain කරන් යන්න එපා මෙහෙම වුණා කියලා, but try to take things into picture, right? Like one of the best ways you can do it is in your introduction and in your conclusions. Try to add quotes and proverbs out of the text. Then text that mama ඔය කරපු කාලේ කරපු වැඩ, something I did was I researched, in the sense I started searching for, now you have AI, we didn't have AI. Okay, so now you guys are having so much of opportunities and chances to excel, something that we didn't have, right? Api quote manga, I had a proverb books those days. I was obsessed with proverbs. Amutu motivation එකක් තිබුණා when I was in grade 10. So 11 එකට වඩා I was very much motivated in grade 10. So when I was in grade 10, I used to do like a lot of research. And so I had a whole book of proverbs, which my dad has brought. It had both the Sinhala and the English one, and it was in Tamil, all three languages. And what I did was I read through the book and found out quotes that I can put here. And I also searched Google as a websites for but you can do it very quickly. How can you do it? Give a summary of the text. In the sense, not the theoretical summary, the analytical summary. Give the analytical, in the sense you can say, okay, quotes that show that appearance is deceptive, proverbs that show that quick impulses can result in disastrous situations, farewell to burn and stack country. අතකොට හොඳ introductory quotes හම්බ වෙනවා. Select those and send it to me and get it verified, and then memorize them. You can write those in your introductions and conclusions. You are supposed to add the quotes from the text in your body paragraphs, right? So you're not going to add any of the text quotes in your introduction and conclusion. Text එකේ තියෙන lines poems වල හරි prose වල හරි ඒකේ තියෙන lines ඔයාලා introduction එකේ conclusion එකේ ලියන්නේ නැහැ. ඒවා ලියන්න body paragraph වල. So in your introduction and in your conclusion, you can make them a little bit lengthier as well as quality wise and quantity wise. Both you can make it better by adding quotes out of the text. Right? Okay. Then look critically at the text and the experience gain, like something like a learning outcome. Right? Okay. Part 2 of the question paper is organized under different genres such as poetry, drama, prose, and fiction. Each of the subsections provide the candidates with the choice of questions. In the detailed marking scheme, guidelines are provided to evaluate the answers. But as mentioned in the introduction, examiners are expected to be sensitive to students' personal or independent ideas which are relevant to the question. What they're saying is there is no rigid marking schemes. There can be points that are different as well, because we always embrace students' innovations. Okay. Then this is the marking criteria. This is something I've already told you. Your 15 marks, this is how the 15 is made. You get 7 for content, 4 for organization, and 4 for language. Now let's look at the parameters and the criteria under content. So under content, they are checking the facts. The facts should be from the text. Then prioritizing the factors, that is organized. You have to write the content in a proper order. Right? Prioritizing the important ones. Then presenting the content in the favor of the question. Adala nati content just because it's from the poem doesn't mean it's relevant. Critical evaluation of facts. That is being iceberg. I think I told you all. Like the tip of the iceberg is what you see. Titanic it was results Titanic උඩ තියෙන ටික විතරක් බලලා ලියන්න යන්න එපා. See the underneath meaning. මොකද්ද මේකෙන් කියන්නේ කියලා පොඩ්ඩක් හිතන්න. Right? Then personal reward response stimulated by the content. You need to be able to come up with your own points as well. See, students' creativity. These are important. ඊට පස්සේ දීලා තියෙනවා how marks are given. ඔයාට 6 or 7 දෙන්නවලු සාමාන්‍යයෙන් 7 out of 7 for content නම් දෙන්නේ නෑ සාමාන්‍යයෙන්, but you can get 6, right? So how, for what kind of answers do you get 6? Let's see, 6 or 7. All the facts or content necessary to address the question are well selected and presented. Content is prioritized to present a logical argument. Shows a personal insight or critical perspective in dealing with the content. Reflects the student's creativity. If these things are there, then you will get 6. So all the content necessary should be there, and they should be selected and presented properly in logical order, and your argument should be logical. Then you need to add your personal insights. Your creativity should be shown. If these criteria are there, you get 6. How do you get 3 to 5 marks? That is, if most of the content expected to put forward to address the question is included. Most of the content is there. Content is ordered in importance. Important you have given. Shows some evidence of personal response in selecting content. You have given some sort of a small insight. Then you will get marks 3 to 5. Then 1 to 2 marks out of 7. Some facts relevant to the questions are available. Facts are not prioritized. Some facts, important facts, are left out. If important facts are left out, and if only few points are there, then you get 1 to 2. If it's totally irrelevant, then it's 0. This is how you get marks for content, the 7 marks. Me mamme dankina points, it's for all the paper 2 essays, okay? This applies for all poetry, prose, drama, and the novel. Okay, then organization. For organization, they check, okay, the answer is relevant. You need to address the question properly. The answer has cohesion. What does cohesion mean? What it means is it has a good connection between the parts. Again, flow ekak tiyena, harihamam flow ekak. This is what we say with PEE or antibody L ekak tiyena, peel. That is what you mean by the peel method. PEEL. The first P, the point, then you have the evidence, then explanation, and then link. Point is the point that we state. Then you add the quotes. Quotes, that's your evidence. Always think like a lawyer. Okay. I gave these examples before also. Imagine there is one student. Now all of you are lawyers. Okay. There is a lawyer. There are two lawyers. And then there are two who are there as well. ඒ දෙන්නගේ එක්කෙනෙක් ගෙදර පොල් තියලා අනිත් එක්කෙනා මෙයාගේ පොල් කඩලා මේ ඒගොල්ලන් ගෙදර දැන් පොල් ටික තියෙනවා. And this person is accusing the other party, saying that okay, this one stole my coconuts. Okay, so you are the lawyer. Then as the lawyer, how are you going to speak in behalf of your client? You are going to give proof. Without proof, facts are just going to stay facts. They are not relevant as long as you validate them with proper evidence, right? So you need to give evidence. Then support with relevant quotes at appropriate points. Provides evidence from the context. This is very important. There are actually three ways of providing evidence. Number one is the quote that you give at the start of every para. After the point or a quote that is one. The other is adding, that is going to be like the main quote that supports that particular paragraph. The second way is adding the particular quotes in the body paragraph. You add quotes in your body paragraphs. Within the body paragraph tava sub quotes, main quote body phrases, you add them while you write the explanation. That is the second one. Third is paraphrasing. Paraphrasing means you're not going to take that line as it is, you're just going to write what's there in it. Then there's a quote. How can I say it? Imagine okay, you're going to say the evening star. Okay, the approaching of darkness along with in the dun forest calls upon or there are visible images of predatory animals like wolves and lions, which represents the hidden danger. That is where I paraphrased. අර කර තිබ්බ එක ඩන් ෆොරස්ට් එකේ ඒනේ මට ලයින් එකක් මතක නැහැ. මම මොකද කරන්නේ මේ කෝට් එක දීලා ඒක එක්ස්ප්ලেইন කරන වෙනුවට එක්ස්ප්ලනේෂන් එක ඇතුළට අර කෝට් එක වෙනුවට ඒ කෝට් එකේ තිබ්බ මොකද්ද කියන එක මගේ වචනෙන් ලියනවා. That is the third thing. So if there is any code that you can't remember, you can do that. Then next one, develops an argument. So there's a thrust to bring out one's point of view. So you need to develop an argument properly as well. So that is what is expected when it comes to organization. Now let's see how marks are awarded. Answer is precise and focuses on the question. It is closely knit with a strong thrust in the argument. Supports answer with relevant quotations and the appropriate moment to build up an argument or present a personal point of view. Answer is well organized with a strong connection between the introduction, the flow, development, and conclusion. So if you have a proper organization, you need to create, if you create the draft in the beginning, it's going to be very easy for you to score these 4 marks. Okay, so if your answers, if you have these in your, if you have a proper flow, and if you have your arguments or point of or your personal points in a proper closely knitted කියන එකට එකක් සම්බන්ධව ගන්නට flow එකකට යනවා නම්, and if your answer is focused on the question properly, then you get your 4 marks for organization. If not, then how can you get 2 or 3? That is, if the answer focuses on the question and builds up an argument, well ordered with a strong connection between paragraphs. So there is a strong connection. Produces quotes at the appropriate moment to back up the argument and illustrate a point. අරක තරම flow එක අඩු නම් එතකොට 2 or 3 තමයි එන්නේ. How do you get 1? Addresses the question but may not focus. හරියටම question එකට නෑ, directly නෑ, පොඩ්ඩක් indirect. Attempts to order answers with an introduction, development and ending, but the answer is not cohesive. හරි හමන් order එකකට නැහැ, හැබැයි අර structure එක ලියන්න try කරලා තියෙනවා. Uses quotes to support ideas or point of view. Quotes එහෙම මෙහෙම පොඩ්ඩක් දාලා තියෙනවා, then you get 1. Then there's a criteria for 0 also. Does not address the question. අදාළම නැති එක ලියලා තියෙනවා. Facts are disjoint. කිසිම connection එකක් නැහැ. No development. That means no structure. a point here and there. එහෙම මෙහෙන් ඔයාලට හිතන හිතන තැන් වල points දාලා connection එකක් නැත්තම් then you get only 0. That is you get 0. That means 0 out of 4. Then for language, when it comes to language, these are the areas that they are testing. Correct structures and grammar. Hari sentence patterns use කරලා ගැලපෙන tenses, ගැලපෙන articles, the pronouns, the prepositions, all those things, the modal verbs, your grammar should be perfect. Then rich vocabulary or expression. Your vocab, you should brush it up. Spoken language again liyan naha, and you can't be repeating the same words over and over. Rich wage thiyena vocabulary එක rich කියලා පෙන්නන්න. You need to show that you know words as well. එහෙමයි කියලා අදාළ නැති ගැලපෙන්නේ නැති වචන ලියන්න එපා. That's even worse. වචන ටිකක් ඉගෙනගෙන add කරන්න. Right? I think I have shared some in your group as well. ඔය මට Pinterest එකෙන් එහෙම හම්බෙච්ච ඒවා, and now you have AI. You can search yourself as well. You can look it up. I'll also send whenever I can. Right? Like for an example, without saying and, you can say furthermore, additionally, stuff like that. To show the consequence, you can say firstly, secondly, but they are after. Right? And like that, instead of using the same word, without saying just show, you can say illustrate, portray, right? Highlights, displays. Use different words for the, instead of using the same word over and over, try to use different words. Show the richness of your language. Then communicative power in the language, that is your writing style. These are what's expected. Okay, this is how your marks are given. No errors in language or spelling. Shows a personal distinct writing style of writing, rich with vocabulary, uses language with expressive force. So if your language is perfect without any issues, then you get 4. No grammar errors. Vocabulary well selected a certain laxes in expression, a few spelling errors. පොඩ්ඩක් එහෙම මෙහෙන් spelling එකක් දෙකක් වැරදිලා හැබැයි grammar errors මුකුත් නැහැ එහෙම okay නම් then you get 3. Then did anyone say something? No, right? Okay. Then no SVO errors. SVO stands for subject verb object. Then SVO errors mukut naha. A few errors in the use of tenses, gender, use of articles or other grammar styles. So podi him mehin වැරදි ටිකක් තියෙනවා, articles, prepositions, pronouns ඔන්න ඒවා. Some errors in spellings, right? Allowness in the style of writing. එහෙම වුණාම you get 2 marks. Then 1 mark එන්නේ some SVO errors. Subject verb object වැරදිලා තියෙනවා පොඩ්ඩක්. Errors in gender, number, tense, misuse of vocabulary. අදාය කියන වචන ගැලපෙන්නේ නැහැ තියෙන ඒවා එහෙම. A few uncoordinated sentences but communicates meaning. හරියට මේ sentence එක structure වෙලා නැහැ, but you can understand what they're trying to say. Like mother no come කියලා කිව්වම okay, we know what he's trying to say is mother don't come. අම්මට එන්න එපා කියන mother don't come is the correct sentence. But when you say mother no come, then you know it's broken English but කියන්න හදන්නේ මේක කියලා. එහෙම තේරෙනවා නම් එක මාර්කයක් දෙන්නලු. Uncoordinated sentences, many errors in tenses, number, gender, use of pronouns and articles, inappropriate use of vocabulary. වචන අදාළ නැති විදිහට ලියලා තියෙනවා. Cannot communicate a meaning. වචන වල තේරෙන්නේ නැහැ මොනවද මේ ලියලා තියෙන්නේ කියලා. Then you get 0. This is how you get your 15 marks. 744. මේ තියෙන paper 2 එකේ අතරේ 15 ඒවා හතරක් තමයි. You get 60 marks for paper 2. And now we get into the Meva. You can see there are only 3 questions because these are old papers. 2021 එකේ ඉඳන් වගේ තමයි you get like the proper version that you get now. These are the standard marking schemes. So some books are there, එක publications තියෙනවා මම නම් කියන්නේ නැහැ. සමහර publications වල තියෙන model answers. ඉතින් ඒ තියෙන model answer points නෙමෙයි correct marking scheme points. These are marking scheme points. You can download them. It's there in the internet. You can go through. ඒගොල්ලෝ සාමාන්‍යයෙන් student කෙනෙක්ගෙන් මෙන්න මේවා expect කරනවා. මේ question එකට මේ වගේ දේවල් ලියලා තියෙන්න ඕනි කියලා. මේවා කොහොම තියෙන්න ඕනි කියලා නෑ, but you know to a certain extent these things should be there and plus points. මේවට additionally තව ඔයාලගේ personal reflections තියෙන්න ඕනි කියලා කියනවා. එතකොට තමයි you get the mark. This is just a rubric. මේ තියෙන්නේ big match poem එක දැන් big match එක පටන් ගත්තා විතරයි, so we can't discuss the question without reading it fully. Then farewell to Barnum secondary එකෙන් තියෙනවා. I want to show the drama questions. Here's the drama. මෙන්න තියෙනවා bear එක. Now see significance of the title. Then you can go through these points. මේවා සමහර ඒවා quotes में mention කරලා තියෙනවා. See, you can easily study. Whenever you study a text like drama or prose, make sure when you're writing, take the characters out and the themes out. Can I remember this triangle? There is always a connection between these three forces. What are those? There's always a connection between the characters, the themes, and the language. Sorry, and the techniques. There's always a connection between these three. There can be a question, your essay questions can base on characters. Character based question na kenna pula. There can be questions basing on the themes. There can be a question basing on certain techniques or interconnected. Themes and techniques එකතු කරලා එහෙම නැත්නම් characters and themes එකතු කරලා එහෙම නැත්නම් characters and techniques එකතු කරලා එහෙම එන්න පුළුවන්. මොකක් ආවත් in the end of the day you need to refer all three. Characters now this is the thing. When it comes to the character, a character ගේ තියෙන certain characteristics are brought out through the techniques. And what does the character do in the end of the day? It's trying to direct us to the particular message that the writer is trying to give us. This particular message conveyed are called the themes, right? And when you look at the themes පැත්තෙන් බලුවොත් themes පෙන්වන්නේ මෙන්න මේ දෙකේ. Techniques වලින් ගත්තොත් techniques වලින් characters පෙන්වනවා. These are always interconnected. So when you're looking at a text, make sure you look at these three things. These three things තමයි ඔයගලන්ට ඕනේ for O level, not for A level. There's more. Now for your reference to the writers and the era, ඒව ඔයගලන්ට නෑ O level එකේ. You only need to focus on these three forces, these three sections. Sorry. Right. Okay. Then okay, let me show you what I just said, proof of that. Okay, here's the question from Wenroff Sweets. Evaluate the significance of the character cousin in the Wenroff Sweets for the development of its story. Character of the cousin. So significance of the character Kiwama, this is a question basing on the cousin's character. But can you write it just basing on cousin's character? No. When you have to highlight the cousin's character, and if there are then novel like direct techniques you have to take then instead techniques then you have to take the tone of the speech and the particular language that is used and stuff like that. Language plays a significant role, right? So then you can take language and themes. When you look at a person's character in the novel, or maybe it's a drama, maybe it's prose. When you look at character, remember that you have to look into few things. One is you look at how the character is portrayed through the writer. How does the writer describe the character? The physical features, the way they talk, the way they walk, and all of that. Number two is how the character presents his or herself. What the character says about his or herself. The language that the character uses. The quotes, in the sense, the behavior, the thinking pattern. And the third point is important, and this is a point that most students miss. This is how the other characters look at this particular character, or the influence of this character upon the other characters. Example, if you look at Jagan's character in the Vendor Offices, we haven't started it yet, but I hope you know the plot. The cousin's character plays a significant role in the Jagan's life, and also in terms of presenting Jagan's characteristics. Most of the hypocritical points of Jagan are brought out by the cousin indirectly. Yeah, hitala kiyanne, but a conversation through these things come out from the start in chapter 1 itself. You have solid proof in chapter 1 itself. When asking when he says conquer test and you will have conquer the self, cousin is asking why and all that, then he's saying I don't know. So these kind of conversations gives us a solid character that okay, Jagan is a hypocrite. He doesn't know what he's saying. He's not doing what he's saying here. So please, make your points to note down. When you look at the character, when you're analyzing a character, make sure you look at how, I'm repeating it again, make sure you look at how the writer represents the character. That is one thing. How does the writer represent this character? The physical features, the background of the character, the exposure of the character, and all of that. Then the other one is how the character presents his or herself. How does the character speak? How does the character behave? What are his or her thought patterns? Number two. Number three is how the other characters um, talk about this character, or how does the other characters get influenced or impacted through these characters. These are points you need to note. So language plays a significant role, especially in the novel and in the drama, and also in the prose passage. And in poetry, more than instead of the dialogues, instead of the language, the main thing you need to focus on are the techniques. Techniques in the novel and all, it's a little less, right? But in poetry runs a lot through the techniques, right? So this is a character based question. Then let me show another one. Up to begin to me, begin to home, we are not doing that. Wave, okay. Wave again, teach us about human beings and their reaction in the face of a tragedy. This is a theme. This is a theme based question. But once again, you have to write it basing on Sonali's character. The particular quotes which had there are few literary devices as well. The language you need to write it basing on that. Then Lahore tag question. Privilege and less privilege, experience war and violence, theme based. It's a theme based question. Then the Nightingale and the Rose, emotions related to love are often misinterpreted, theme based. Then Lumber Room, discuss how imagination helps Nicholas to face Nicholas's character. So this is theme. This is based on Nicholas's character, but you can see it's connecting to the themes as well if you know the text. Then let's look into Twilight of a Crane. Humanity highlights humanity theme. Significance of the title. See, Giravati, for its theme. Then upside down, okay? How abnormal results in humor. Theme based, you can explain it using the techniques. Make Dilatina question, okay? Significance of the poetic techniques used in the Earthen Goblet. So it's a technique based question. Then farewell to Barnum country, emotional conflict of an individual, theme based. Big match, okay? Social conflict, sense of social conflict, theme based. Similarities between Nile and the other rivers, once again, theme based. Right? So now I hope you have a solid understanding about the paper structure and all of that. Any questions about the paper structure? I'm not going to discuss the paper structure again. Any doubts? Any questions? මොනහරි ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවද? 10 එකේ මල්ලා දෙන්නෙකුත් ඉන්නවා මල්ලා දෙන්නක් කියන්නකො any questions you all have? රවිදු සෙනුර ප්‍රශ්න මොනහරි තියෙනවද? නැද්ද? නැත්තම් නෑ කියලා හරි කියන්නකො අයියෝ. Okay. Binner as usual එයාගේ sign language එකෙන් අපිට මේ මොකද SOS ක්‍රමයට මේ කොහෙද අර cross එකක් එවලා තියෙනවා no problem කියලා. Okay. Okay, now come. I don't know, I'm confused. Dohanat, okay, no doubts. Okay, cool. Do you all want to move on to big match, or you want to call it a day and continue big match once we meet in the physical class? I want to do big match in the class now. Do you want to continue big match? තව අපි stanza එකක් big match එකේ කරමුද? Hmm? Do you all want a break? අහන් ඉඳලා කම්මැලිද? Do you want a break? Oshini, did you reach home? Are you still on your way?
Still on the way, miss.
Oh, okay. Uh, are you bored? Like, because it was me talking at a stretch. Do you all want a break? A break from my kaka voice, crow voice? No break. Okay. Okay. Dohan says no. Others? No big match, please. Ah, okay, sure. Winner is excited now. Winner in a game. See, winner, you are getting an A, right? Winner, yes, yes. That's the spirit. And Dohan, once you come physically, after class, stay around 10 minutes or so. I'll give you like a draft as to how you need to create the study plan and do. Because the in literature, like I told in the beginning, it's not about memorizing, it's about practice. So how to select the questions and what questions to practice and how to practice, I'll give guidelines. Anyways, I thought of doing that for everybody at once again because I already did it before. I thought of giving a study plan mentioning everything in the syllabus. අපි කරපු ඔගොල්ලෝ දැන්ටමත් ලියපු questions උත් ඇති ලියපු නැති ඒවාත් ඇති. So if you have already written, what you have to do is you can skip that and go to the next one. Is that good? Do you want a plan like that? Like a full plan for everybody at once? Vinara, Oshini, Dohan, other through grade 11 sanani.
Yes, miss, that's good.
That's good. Okay. Dohan, okay. Binara, Mr. Binara. Hello.
Yeah, that's okay, miss.
That's okay, right. Then I will end this recording and get into a second recording.